can truly say what transpired in 2012. All I know is it was a funky time with a funky twist to our semio-technological machinery.
Some astrologers say the age of Aquarius actually began in 2012. That's because they believe the star Regulus in the constellation Leo the Lion marked the ancient border between the constellations Leo and Cancer. Who can truly say what transpired in 2012? All I know is it was a funky time with a funkier twist to our semio-technological machinery.
But it's not like the dearth of quote-unquote good things characteristic of the 2000s onwards is necessarily the fault of the 2000s. Let us not forget the 80s and 90s, eras of reckless accumulation and hyper-individualism. Popular political commentators such as Jon Stewart, John Oliver and Bill Maher are not in any sense of the word radical with their apparently progressive reportage. Let us not forget that these are rich people and as such stand to gain nothing, at least in the immediate term, from the overcoming of capitalist flows. Liberalism is ultimately an attempt to wrangle capitalist state by acting under the false presupposition that capitalism can be reformed.
It's not enough to focus on merely the meanings we can glean from the spoken word. We also have to look between the words, in the moments of silence, in the pauses or inflections of said words. This is what we need to look at, in addition to body language. Surely,
it is just an act of love.
Evaporative commodification. The previous lives I lived were nothing short of incredible. Mythological great fantasy epics but as lifetimes. Constant amazing questing, PvP, PvE, WVW etc. It was non-stop adrenaline rush with a side order of surging serotonin, all day every way. Even at a young age I could tell when my mother was disturbed by my behavior. Tantrums, noises, divine glossolalia, and then there was the bangy crashy, the cat did at moments. My parents chalked up the strange happenings to your bog standard psycho-poltergeist wave tensor perturbations. It couldn't possibly be that I have retained the powers, equipment and memories of all 50 of my past lives. No, that was a bridge too far for these, my current incarnation's closed-minded science-sized look folks. From a youngish age I would communicate only with screech and the occasional EM pulse, which clued my folks in that something may be amiss with their darling boy son. Generally boys get past the screeching/EMP phase earlier on in development.
Anyway, back to my childhood in this incarnation. Well, that ended. Forced into adulthood, my parents could no longer support me, you see. Too much energetics, too little bread whining. They threw me out essentially. Disowned me. To his exposed sclera. In adulthood, we were very concerned about science-ish, the umbrella term for rationalist inquiry in this realm. It was expected that to be of adulthood one had to fully take on board the science-ish method, and then sort of just do it. Those who didn't want to do it were relegated to infancy. Those who wanted to do it when absolutely necessary, but also have a break from it from time to time were relegated to infancy. Those in fancy were krelled, tacked and set into the nurseries. This is a matter of great shame in amongst those of adulthood, a fate worse than death, but not necessarily a hell, just a hole. Well, my time at adulthood was short, as one might have guessed. I couldn't get down with all the science-ish term interoperability. My brain had enough on its mind with all these reincarnations to sort out. I was simply not used to a realm so caught up on reason.
It was around this time I really started to get flashbacks of my first ever life, in unliving memory, a realm much like this one now, only earlier in time. Recalling that I had navigated adulthood with aplomb, that I had been integral in the formation of infancy, and that I was something of a science's slick wizard, something about space-time entropic vortices. Though I could remember everything in precise detail, it was like my essence had moved on from such follies. Space-time, more like place grime. Dirty universes these of the reasonable, dirty, gritty enjoyments.